What's this? So this is continuing on similar trend in regards to Islamic extremism. And this is another one from Ali Tabrazi. Tabrizi. Ali Tabrizi. Let's have a little listen.
I want to see Sharia law in Europe. And
Why though, bro? Why? That's the thing. Why? Why do you want to see Sharia law in Europe?
I want to see Sharia law in Europe, and I want to see it in America as well.
You can say it to me, but
Okay, so cover up. Wear the hijab.
That's like outrageous.
That's absurd.
At that point, this woman
That's absurd, bro. Cover up on the hijab. And it's serious. Look, it's serious. It's doing the whole hand thing. Bro, what? Have you lost your goddamn mind? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Cover your hair then in her country is telling her to do that. It's outrageous, bro. Outrageous.
should have slapped him around the face.
Yeah. Wow. Britons are about to become slaves if we don't act immediately to stop Islamic takeover. What? I don't think it could ever happen. But
Hello
it's a
everyone and
threat.
welcome back to the channel. I hope you've all had a good week so far. In today's episode, we're going to be continuing with this theme of me sharing my predictions of what is coming to Europe if the Islamic takeover
Oh, predictions.
is not stopped. Now, in a previous episode, I shared my top 3 predictions of what's coming to Europe. Now, if you haven't watched it, what are you doing?
European invasion.
Watch it. It should be mandatory viewing. You're going to be far more prepared than pretty much anyone else in
And it's like, you know, the whole immigration sort of issue that we're having in the UK. You're having in the US. You're having it all over Europe as well. It's the same. And it seems to be the same culprits. Do you know what I mean? This is why it's going to lead to, like I've been saying, proper nationalist leaders. Supreme, like not supreme, extreme nationalist leaders sprouting out of Europe, saying, nah, we're gonna not have none of this no more. Completely shut it down.
Europe
gonna happen?
because they're asleep at the wheel, and you're going to be able to navigate this problem a lot better than other people. So please go watch it. However, those 3 things are really just the beginning of the Islamification process. Once they set in motion, once they've been clicked into place, and they are clicking into place, the very next thing that happens will be the enforcement of hijabs on all women. Now, how do I know this? Am I an oracle? Am I a
Crazy.
fortune teller? No. It's just that I understand how Islam spreads. And every time it spreads, it follows the same clockwork pattern. And so if you want to understand what's coming to Europe, all you need to do is look at the Middle East. Okay, people have no idea just how far
Well, like
Islam
Iran
is
or-
about to infiltrate every aspect of daily life in the West. People think, well,
And that's what I've been noticing quite lately when looking at this sort of, like, let's say, Islamification, is that they're like filtering into every facet of society, and it's almost as well what they use is a victim mentality thing. So if you point it out, it's Islamophobia. So it's like so strange. It's deadly.
we're just going to have some more mosques. We're going to see more people dressed in Islamic garb. We might see some more terrorist attacks.
enforce it.
Okay. People don't understand that it will trickle down into you not being able to listen to the music you want. You're not going to be able to watch the movies you want. Your kids
Because
can't
you
watch.
can't. You know, it's very strange to say, but music is haram. Music is haram. You shouldn't be listening to music as a Muslim. Like, that's forbidden.
Disney movies, okay? Well, I remember when I went to Iran as a kid, my mum smuggled some VHS tapes in our luggage. So it was The Little Mermaid, it was Toy Story, it was Hercules, it was all those kinds of classic 90s Disney movies, right? We got to the airport and the security team cleared the VHSs, right? So I'm in Tehran, I'm 5 years old in the airport, and they're clearing all of my favorite movies. Why? Because they're haram. They show the women's hair. They show some
Yeah.
little bit of the chest of the women. They might show her ankles. It's too American. All those kinds of things, right? So if the Islamification process happens to Europe, you're not going to see your favorite media, right? You think they're going to allow all the art galleries that have impressionist paintings of nude women?
Impossible.
Or Renaissance paintings of nude women?
Impossible.
You think they're going to allow all that? The Mona Lisa, you think they're going to allow her to have her hair open? No, they'll cover it up. They'll paint over it with a burqa. Right? This stuff happens. This already happened in Afghanistan. They blew up the Buddhist monuments that are like very ancient.
This is why, man. They have nothing.
Because it was deemed, not okay for Sharia law or whatever. So say goodbye to all the national galleries and the museums of Britain, right?
And it'll be like a complete wipeout of history. Obviously, it's what happens when, a takeover to this sort of level. It's like a wipeout of everything.
About this, the morning breakfast TV show hosts, right? The sports presenters, any women in the public eye that might be even members of parliament. What's going to start happening is they're going to start covering up their hair in order to not offend the Muslim population. It'll all start with social justice language first, right? We don't want to offend the Muslims
What a deadly vision this is, bloody hell.
in our country. So as an act of solidarity, we're going to cover up our hair.
Yeah.
And that's how it begins. And that's how it starts every single time, okay? Now, one example of this is Iran. Now, when the Islamic regime took over Iran, it kicked out the monarchy.
It's crazy how it was. I was looking the other day at video of pictures of like the 70s in Iran, and it looked like proper hip. It proper looked like up and coming, like nice place. What happened, man?
How was it going to implement on a population of women that could dress however they wanted the idea of mandatory headscarf, right? So the way they did this was incrementally, step by step, through the language of social justice. They said to the women, as a sign of our victory to celebrate the values of the Islamic Revolution, just for a day, we want all women to be out on the streets with their heads covered by a headscarf. So the women said, okay, we begrudgingly agree to it. And then it became 2 days, then it became a week, then it became a month, then 6 months, then a year. And then, if you dare remove it, you'll be murdered for it.
Murdered?
Right? They'll shoot you in the face if you dare take the headscarf off.
My God.
And so what starts as solidarity ends in tyranny. And this always, always happens. Now, of course, we have examples.
And then like what's happening now in Iran is like they want to break away from that.
Of how
It's a cycle.
the social justice warriors of their day in 1979 Iran.
This is what happens when you try shackle people, when you try and slave people like that. It just the vicious cycle continues.
Like these two girls here in this photograph, they're like the equivalent of the Greta Thunbergs of their time. Okay, they were the activists of their day. They're seen in this car driving around, celebrating the arrival of the Ayatollah.
Probably.
Now we know actually what happened to these young girls. The girl in the front, this girl here, was massacred. Basically,
Massacred.
after the leftists teamed up with the Islamists to take control of the country, the Islamists now no longer had any use for the leftists, and so they massacred them. And this girl, unfortunately, and very, very sadly, was part of this massacre. She died. Her friend in the back was able to flee and is now currently still living in exile in Sweden. Okay, this is what happens to people with suicidal empathy. People call it useful idiot syndrome. This is what we're talking about here. It's just this complete willingness.
Yeah, useful idiot syndrome explains a lot.
To believe the lies of people who hate you, right? And you offer them all your charity, you work for them on their behalf, you use all this social justice language to make out like you share the same values, that you have the same agenda as them, only to later be completely crushed by them. Now, we have an example of how this is happening today in the UK, in Wales, to be specific.
Oh my God.
Where you have this liberal, blonde-haired, white-skinned woman basically asking the government for more funding to impose headscarves on school children. Okay, so watch this clip.
And so in one school, they had a white girl wearing a hijab. First Minister, on Friday, I was with the Ethnic Youth Support Team in Swansea, and they were saying that they would like to have much more support going into schools and education venues in regards to trying to get communities to work together. And so in one school, they had a white girl wearing a hijab, and she walked down the street.
Why?
And then she came back and she said how different she felt she'd been treated because she was just wearing one piece of headwear that was different to how she would usually dress.
So basically, this woman here has come to the Welsh government. She's saying that she's worked with this group who have put headscarves, Islamic head coverings on young girls. They made them walk down the street and ask them how they felt. And because this girl felt differently, right? Because she has her face covered. She looks like a ninja. You can't see her face.
People I don't think it was a burqa.
Who's this young girl? Why is she wearing that?
Anything about a burqa, mate.
Right? Because of that, now the government need to give this charity way more money. I don't know, hundreds of thousands of pounds. I have no idea. Millions of pounds. I have no idea. To go and do this to even more schools to normalize it. And it's all under this social justice language of helping communities work together. All right, now back
It's a Christian land. It's a Christian land. You could never do that in Saudi Arabia. You could never do that in Dubai or something like that. You could never do that.
to the point of mandatory head coverings and so on.
Back to the point to this idiot.
Check out this video clip from this Muslim talking about why he wants Sharia law.
Me, I want to see every single woman in this country covered from head to toe. I want to see the hand of the thief cut. I want to see adulterers stoned to death. I want to see...
See what they want? They want medieval times to come back. They want to regress, not progress. It's a backwards mindset.
Sharia law in Europe.
Stonings. They want stonings in like Trafalgar Square and that. Are you depleted in the mind? Are you somehow like... Clearly. Saying it and he's saying it and he's meaning it. Of sober mind, I would, hope, I would assume. Of sober mind and body, he's saying that he wants that. It's a madness.
And I want to see it in America as well.
The only thing I would say is that in America and in the United Kingdom, democracy...
A backwards one.
But it's
a
a
barbaric
system.
one.
Sorry, did he just say that America and the UK are backwards and barbaric?
It said they're backwards, right? That's the wildest thing I ever heard.
Wasn't he just the one asking and calling for the chopping off of the feet of the kuffars, right? The non-believers?
Yeah. Wasn't he calling for medieval things that are literally backwards?
Like, what kind of brain do you have to have? Like, what?
No, he's a retard. He's a retard. You can clearly see by the things that he's saying. He's a retard. He's not, he's gone.
What kind of level
Retard.
of
He's
inbreeding
retards.
generationally would you have to have?
What level of inbreeding? Yeah. Well, I mean, they do agree with cousin marriage and all of that, so, the possibility is very high.
In order to believe the nonsense he's saying, right? If he looks like he might be from
It's
Pakistan.
crazy, bro.
Pakistan has an inbreeding rate of between 65 and 85%. Look at Pakistan.
And there's people like Daniel Hikikachu who's saying he'd rather a society like that. Is this the aim? To have a completely stupid, thick society ruled by Islamic Sharia law? Deadly. That never happened.
Anybody want to live there? No one wants to live in Pakistan,
No one wants to
including
live.
Pakistanis. That's why they all
Live
leave
like
to
that.
come to the UK. Like the British,
Yeah,
the British.
their dream is to come here. What, and then come here and make it like Pakistan? What sort of twisted sickness is this? No, thank you. All them people then get them out. That's just as simple as that. You've got to start doing stuff like that. Stuff what Rupert Lowe was saying. Do stuff like that. That's why he's rising in popularity. Because he's saying what people are thinking. So,
Empire gave the people of Pakistan a country, right? Here you go. You wanted an Islamic state. Here you go. Have it. Make it the paradise you want.
Yeah.
And what do? But
It's a hellhole. No disrespect to my Pakistani brothers and sisters, but I'm sure that they know as well that their country is not prospering. It's not prosperous, beautiful Islamic land, is it?
turn it into an absolute dump, and then everyone wants to leave, right?
Man said a dump.
This is the arrogance that's so present in the Islamic world. Again, not every Muslim, but this arrogance is rife within the Islamic world. Barbaric, excuse me.
It's crazy. And
Oh
this
my
is
gosh.
backwards.
That allows the people to choose what they want and allows people freedom.
So why can't I choose Sharia?
So here you have.
So why can't I choose Sharia? Yeah, you'd be choosing Sharia, but you'd be standing in the corner shouting it on your own like a madman. We have places for that. It's called asylums for the mind. But today's society, they've closed asylums and they've switched them into gender reaffirming clinics or whatever the fuck it is. So we need a little change around. But yeah, an asylum, you can go in an asylum and be talking about that alone. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Sharia. Of course you can choose Sharia. Everyone will point and laugh at you.
This Western
ridiculous.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed Western
Outrageous.
woman saying that we should have the freedom to choose what we want, right? So these are Western liberal values of tolerance and freedom and those kinds of things. And this is a case-in-point example of how Islamists come in and they weaponize.
Because the truth of the matter is, if it wasn't liberal, tolerant, the West wasn't like that, then it would be the opposite, right? Or completely block out the infidels. it wouldn't let not a single infidel in. Right? That's how the West would be. The West would be military. It would block every infidel from coming in, every pagan from entering its lands. Now, this is the holy land of Christ, is what they would say. But they're not. They're not like that. They're open. It's cool. Come in. They're trusting. This is it. This is liberal, you know. We got freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom of thought over here in this land. We worked hard to get this. That's what they said. And then there's people coming in trying to turn it back around to what they fought to make. It's crazy.
It against you. Well, what about my freedoms? I want to chop off your hands. I want to rape your young girls. I want to cover you up from head to toe in a black sheet.
Yeah, what a thing to say. Well, what about my right to want to chop off your hands? It's sickness. It's an actual sickness.
What about my freedoms? What about what I want, right? And so here you have this person claiming, this Muslim person claiming that they're all about freedom, right? Well, we're about freedom. What about my freedom? As if they care about freedom. If they had it their way and they controlled the country and it became Sharia, kiss goodbye to any freedoms for anyone. That is not how Islam works. It's not like once the Islamists take over, they're still going to allow programs in schools for multiculturalism to be taught where the Muslims get to learn about Easter and Christmas. No, they don't. Kiss goodbye to all of that kind of stuff. It will go. They will not afford you the same.
Again, this is all hypothetical because I don't think anything like this could possibly happen. Britain would never allow that. UK would never allow such a thing to, you know, break their empire that they've had for like thousands of years. They would never do that. They would never ever allow it. But in a hypothetical sense, just the thought of it is scary. Just the thought of that ideology and that style entering, like the UK, for example, London, and all that. Hellish, that's when I'll be out. I'll be gone.
Mercy that you afford them when it comes to all of this stuff.
When in Rome, overthrow Caesar, implement the Sharia.
In your home, you can do whatever you want.
But what about in the public? Why can't I tell you to cover up? Am I free to say that?
Because it would be outrageous.
So where's my freedom? Where's my freedom?
You see how it's then now it's switched into a victim mentality because it's like a sick sort of communism sickness sort of. I don't even know what it is, bro. But the movement is like based on victimhood. Sick. But you see what he's proposing. Where's my freedom?
You can say it to me, but
okay, so cover up. Wear the hijab.
That's absurd.
Right, do you see that? Where's my freedom?
And then that will be the answer. But he's right. It's probably slapping will be a good one as well.
I can tell you to cover up. At that point, this woman should have slapped him around the face. That's what she should have done. Or got the boyfriend of the cameraman off screen to beat this guy up. I'm sorry. Enough of this tolerance. This is evil.
What's a thing to say?
This is evil.
And then you want these, you know, so he's clearly saying what he wants, which is subjugation of the whole West into Islamic law, which will make them subjugated to Muslims, paying jizya and all of that. It'll be a terrible life for someone who's not Muslim. They're saying that they want that, and they're here in your land. They don't care about you. They don't care about your culture. They don't care about your traditions. This is what they do. It's like a sickness, really. It can't flourish really here in this land. It's not compatible with the West. I've said it a few times. It simply is not. And the West is realizing this.
Tolerate this evil. Okay, this is how the Islamists are gaining a foothold. Tolerance. Why are we being tolerant? Why are we opening up the borders to people that hate us? Yeah. The reason why Islamists are getting such a foothold is that we keep tolerating it at every turn. Enough. No. Stop tolerating these people who hate you. This ideology is worse than the Nazis. This ideology of we're going to chop your feet off, we're going to not allow you to show your face in public.
Hands,
right? We're going to murder you if you're a Christian and if you're a Jew, right? So the Nazis were killing the Jews. These are going to do the Jews and the Christians and basically everyone else, the atheists, the Hindus, they're going to kill everyone else. That's what they want, ultimately speaking. That is what they want. They want the whole world under the grip of Islam. That's what they want. These people will take everything. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And what we're going to start seeing more and more all across Europe is people that are going about their day, that are wearing their summer clothing, they're going to be confronted, as this German woman was, by all these Muslim women here. And then the man gets involved. I don't know if he's the husband to all these wives. And then he barges her over. Right?
No, what's he
kill
doing?
People like that. They smash their head on the concrete. Right? All because she wasn't wearing the right clothes, according to this caption here.
It offends them so much to even see. They're unable to be tolerant enough to see someone living their free life. They want them subjugated like they are. It's a hellhole. It's a hellhole, and it's cult mentality. It needs to be stopped, really.
Right. We're going to see this stuff happening more and more frequently.
But it will
And so
be.
what will happen is women, after a certain point, after a tipping point is reached, will no longer feel safe in public
this.
without a lot of head coverings, without their bodies being disguised. Not because they want Islam, but as an act of self-preservation. Because of the violence, the beatings that will happen,
hell is going on?
the fights outbreaking by Muslim women, pulling all the hair of the women not covering up their hair. And then it will come to a point
Some
where
of
all
these
the
people.
sexual harassment will be just too great. And so in order to just go from your house to work, to the shop, women, as I'm predicting, will start wearing head covering all the time, out of fear, out of self-preservation.
Deadly. What a dark and grim, possibility. What a sickness, man.
And then what will happen is the women that choose not to will be shamed and persecuted. They won't get hired for jobs because at a certain point when your country becomes a very high percentage Muslim, they're not going to hire you unless you're willing to cover up your hair because it might offend the Muslim clients. Same with parliaments, right? The members of parliament, like I said at the beginning of the video, they will start covering up their hair because they don't want to offend their constituency of largely Muslim people. TV presenters, sports show hosts, morning breakfast shows, they're all going to start covering up their hair. And it'll start, again, like I said earlier, with social justice language, all about solidarity and not offending people.
What
right?
a
We're going to
scary
hand
prospect.
over on a silver platter Western civilization because we're too scared about what will happen if we say, no, we don't want to give it away to you. We're too scared about offending people. This is what's going to happen.
Scary.
Now, look, there's so much more for me to talk about when it comes to this issue. But to keep this video from becoming this long ramble and this long rant about what's happening, just understand that people need to wake up to the reality that there will be no corner of your life untouched by an Islamic takeover. It will rain down on
prospect is
everything
horrifying.
you know, everything you cherish, things you take for granted.
Just read in the histories. Read in the history. Read to countries that it's happened to before. Iran's a great example because it's recent. Read and see how they went about doing it. And then you know. It's like reading horror stories. Don't read that before bed. You'd be terrified. But yeah, read up. It's all there. It's all literally out there. You could, it's not mystery. It's not a mystery. We know this. We know this stuff. So, yeah, I would say just read up on it. Read on the history. See, and you'll be able to see, the prospects. What could possibly happen? It's the savagery. It's pure savagery.
The kinds of food that you can buy in the shop.
And this is why it's deadly because they're driven by Islam. It's in the holy book, in their holy book. It's brutal.
Think about
How do you
alcohol.
deal with that?
Think about bacon. Think about anything that's not deemed halal. Think about music. Think about arts. Think about literature. Right? Think about the kinds of books that will be made available. They're going to start banning books that are deemed offensive to Islamic.
Books are like my favorite thing, man. Books are like my favorite thing, bro. Don't mess with the books. And they will. There'll be no information. There'll be no knowledge.
Law.
There'll be nothing.
Islamic teaching. Right? They'll start banning the Bible eventually. They'll start converting every church into a mosque. And all the public-facing women in society will start covering up their hair. Disney movies, just like that won't be allowed. It will be broadcast on TV throughout the day, 5 times a day, the Islamic call to prayer. It'll be on TV.
Man.
You'll
It's
drive-
already in Dearborn. They're doing it. It's in the streets. It's crazy.
in your car, and all of a sudden on the radio, it'll start playing the Islamic call to prayer. This is what's going to happen to Europe. Everything that I'm telling you now has already happened to all of these countries here. All of these countries here, it's happened to. Why do you think that it won't happen to Europe? We must end the occupation before it gains any more control. So, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support this mission, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the show if you haven't already, visit the merch store, which I just launched. We've got some pretty cool designs there. grab a t-shirt, wear it proudly, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.
It's quite a scary prospect when, you know, he's looking at it like that, especially, you know, through the lens of history and seeing what like an Islamic takeover looks like. Horrific, man. Absolutely horrific. And like, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? What do you do with a thing like that? It's actually wild. But yeah, great video there from Ali Tabrizi. Give him a sub there, and I'll pop the description. I'll pop the video in the description when the time comes. It was a great video, well presented and everything like that. It was good.